Those sunglasses.
Oh man, look, that's a fucking sexy shot right there. Except there's a in the picture. What's up everybody, Hawaii Cali Vegas here. I'm Shane, and today I'm going to be giving you guys a quick walk around. Not really a review, but just kind of a walk around on the Scion Release Series 2.0. Let's take a look. Alright, so one of the first things you're going to notice is this real vibrant color. It's Lunar Storm. So it's kind of like a desert tan or a tan color, and it's really pretty nice in person. Alright, so the next thing that you're going to notice is going to be this lip. It doesn't really give it that much more low, but it does give it an aggressive look. It's probably about an inch lower on the front or middle. Down on the sides, it seems to be about the same height as the bumper itself. Another thing that you'll notice on the front side is the headlights. These things are pretty awesome. They're like the GT86 headlights in Japan. It has HIDs and daytime running lights down the middle, which are LED. The next thing you're going to notice on the outside are the 17-inch alloy wheels. One thing you're going to notice is that it does not have more low. It actually has less low than the Release Series 1.0. This one does not have TRD springs. Why? I'm not sure. But I think this is supposed to be more of a luxury Scion than a sporty Scion. But it probably would have been nice for them to have the TRD springs along with this. As with all the 2016 FRSs, it's also got the shark fin antenna, and then when you walk around to the back, you're going to notice that it has a color match spoiler, and this is standard with the Release Series 2.0. Since this has the keyless remote entry type of setup, there's a button down here. All you gotta do is press it and it opens. One thing that's standard on 2016 cars, or at least the FRS, is the backup camera. So this thing's standard on it. I wish mine came with it. It didn't. Oh well, life goes on. On the back side, you also notice that it has the big exhaust tips. It's not a TRD exhaust, but it does have bigger tips on it. It's all about the tips. That was pretty much it as far as the outside is concerned. When we go into the inside, you're gonna notice it has a two-tone leather interior. It also has leather and Alcantara in the center, leather on the outside with the camel brown accented pieces. All right, when you get to the inside, of course, everything is still going to be the same. Oh, dude! I think it has adjustable headlights. Huh? I think it has adjustable headlights. Like how mine does. All right, so first getting into the car, everything's pretty much going to be the same. I'm not sure what the Release Series 1.0 has, but I do notice that the headlights have this adjustment knob, kind of like my BRZ Limited does. So what this does is it allows you to raise your headlights up and down based on your driving conditions. Another thing on the inside is, first off, everything's going to have the same stitching throughout. E-brake handle, the shift boot, the knee pads right here. They only made 1,000 of these, and this one just happens to be 473. Which will be embroidered in the dash, so you know which one you've got. Another thing that comes standard with this thing is the center console bolster, or center console elbow pad thing that you can put on here. So another thing that the 1.0 had that this one does not have is the the frameless mirror, and this one just has the regular standard mirror. So you can see right here, it's hard to tell, but it's just a regular mirror that you'd probably find in AutoZone or in a Civic DX. Another thing that's different compared to a standard FRS or BRZ is that they actually carry this leather look, or this leather feel or touch all the way to the back. So back here, where you would normally have the FRS that would have carpet, this one actually has leather with the stitching in the back as well. Another thing with the FRS 2016 FRS is that there's no CD player in this thing. I don't know how I feel about that. I mean, I know technology is going to MP3 players, Pandora, Bluetooth, Wi-Fi, etc., but it's always nice to be able to put a CD player in there. Call me old or something, I don't know. I mean, I am old, but I think a CD player should still be standard somewhere. I mean, how else are you gonna listen to Tupac and Snoop Dogg and all that stuff with a CD from back in the day? Also, which is standard in like any upgraded, other than base model, you'll have the push button start and dual climate control. But I mean, as far as the inside is concerned, everything is still pretty standard. It's just been kind of prettied up a little bit. Heated seats. I mean, that's about it. I mean, you can see for yourself, everything's pretty high quality, and it still has a really good feel and touch to it. Well, that pretty much sums it up for the interior. There's one thing that I noticed underneath the hood, I'll show you here in a second, but the one thing that's kind of weird to me is that they kind of left the engine bay unpainted. I don't think that this is even like a paint that they did and then just changed the outside. I think that this came from the factory, just gray, maybe a primer. It's not a primer, I'm sure, but this is probably how it went down the assembly line. And then they go, hey, let's make this car Lunar Storm or Desert Tan or some kind of brown color. So they just threw a paint job on it, because if you look underneath, you'll see kind of like an overspray on the fenders, and actually even on the core support. Trying to get it out of the shadow, but anyway, you'll see right here or over here where it's gray, and then you can see where the paint kind of just faded over into it, and as well down here. I'm not sure why they did it that way, but I mean, it is what it is, and that's how it is. As far as anything else underneath the engine bay, everything's still the same. Still has the same amount of horsepower, still has the same setup, still has the same motor, everything's still the same. It's just an appearance package. All right, guys, so that pretty much sums it up. Again, I'm HAWAIICALIVEGAZ and Shane, and I'll put my Instagram right here. And this was a quick overview or look at the Release Series 2.0. This was by no means an in-depth review on its performance or anything of that nature. This was strictly to show you the appearance packages that it has, so that way you don't have to spend your gas money coming down to the dealership to look at what I did. Again, I want to thank Avondale Toyota Scion for letting me do this review or overview of the car. And thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you guys next time. Mahalo. All right, so the thing that I noticed that was underneath the hood is the first thing when you pop it, the car is Lunar Storm, but then the engine bay is some sort of gray. One thing I noticed, and this is an assumption, but I think it is actually the silver ignition from the 10 series FRS. Why they did it that way, I'm not sure, but it is what it is, and it is what it is. It's gray. One thing you're gonna notice. All right, I'll just do it again. All right, guys. So that pretty much
bloopers
all right,
at the
guys,
end.
so that pretty much sums it up.